The Minister of Human Settlements, Thembi Simelane, has directed a team of officials responsible for emergency housing within the National Department of Human Settlements to speed up the process of assisting the flood-affected households in KwaZulu-Natal. The areas that have been affected include eThekwini, for example, Lamontville, areas in eThekwini like Lamontville, Umlazi, as well as Oku and King Cetshwayo Districts Municipalities. Quite a lot going on the ground. And let's catch up with the Minister now, as we said yesterday, that she has in fact been, really seized with what is taking place there and sent the team. Minister, good afternoon to you and thank you so much for your time. A lot of work lies ahead for the team that you have sent there. What have they told you?
Thank you very much and good evening to our viewers. Well, our team is hard at work. We are still almost about to conclude our assessment with regard to human settlement. But overall, in KwaZulu-Natal, from the 14-day period to date, we are beyond the assessment of about 1,000 households that have been affected in terms of their houses, either partially destroyed or permanently destroyed, all of them. And our package system in terms of the partially destroyed will be to assist them through our voucher system to repair their houses, and also where there has been total demolition, we assist with regard to the rebuilding material to ensure that they are able to start. Of course, we start with temporary housing unit. The challenge we are having really of why our team can't get to the ground is that most of the areas are still wet, are still watery. The municipality, through COGTA as well, have not yet finalized their own assessment with regard to the declaration of the disaster, so that we could be able, jointly with the municipality and the province, can be able to provide the sufficient and full entire package of support to victims who have been affected. But nonetheless, we are on the ground. We're trying from a social development ourselves and the municipality to work into the areas, clearing firstly the debris in terms of trying to ensure that where you are going to put the temporary residential unit, you are able to find a flat ground.
Yeah.
There are areas, for example, the Lamontville area next to Umlazi, a river. The initial thought by the department was that they were not going to be there for a long time. The municipality struggled with the allocation and the supply of land. We're making alternative avenues in terms of one building, which government to government as a department were able to really close and tie up an agreement where we'll permanently move the residents into the flats in town, those who are willing and those who are not, possibly the alternative land that the municipality will provide. But I do confirm what the communities are saying. Where they were placed, even if it was temporary, unfortunately, it took longer than anticipated. It's a danger zone by its very own nature. And that's why the Thembi Simelane family actually lost their beloved ones, amongst others.
So, Minister, how challenging is it? And I ask this because this is a province that has been hit by floods for quite some time now, over a number of years. And, for example, you speak to Umlondi yesterday, who was on the ground saying that there are even people as far back as 2022 who would be in these flats, who want to move to different areas. You still have backups there. You still have a lot going on when it comes to allocating houses for those who continue to be victims. How challenging does also that make the situation on the ground?
It's a huge challenge. It's a huge challenge. We're currently, as human settlements, sitting with over 4,075 informal settlements. Some are partially registered, some are not registered at all. But in KwaZulu-Natal, in the Western Cape, in the Eastern Cape, the northern part of Mpumalanga and Limpopo, that's where our huge challenge is. But of course, there's no contest that KwaZulu-Natal is the hard hit. We do get early warning systems. The challenge we have mostly is a partnership also with our communities. And understandably so, it comes from, where you have stayed for years. There's attachments, there's value, there's family heritage and everything. That for a municipality to move you from the area where you have stayed your entire life in Lamontville to around 30 kilometers away from where you would possibly reside. Quite a number of community members just say, find another alternative. This one will not work for me. So we've got about 9 settlements, if I'm correct, just within the Durban, eThekwini proximities, where actually our people are not in safe conditions. They are in wetlands or closer to wetlands, and we have already received early warnings in terms of removing them or relocating them to other areas.
Yeah.
Then the fiscus, of course, becomes a second problem, which makes it difficult to relocate over 800 households and then be able to allocate for them at the same time. So we're reviewing our policy with regard to alternative building materials as well. There's a difficulty in South Africa if you want to introduce such. It becomes really, people are so used to brick and mortar, and it's a bit costly in comparison to how other countries are dealing with emergency and disaster and relocation of cities, towns, and businesses. So we're dealing with that as well. But we are looking into the model, which we seem to find it. Public Works, for example, has given us around 2,500 hectares across the country, of course. But we are trying to strategize and prioritize eThekwini, prioritize Nelson Mandela, prioritize the King Cetshwayo, prioritize Alfred Duma, a district municipality where you have Amajuba, Newcastle, Ladysmith. They are also always having warnings in terms of, should we get old government buildings which we can repurpose them, it will relatively be cheaper and affordable in terms of what the fiscus and how it's standing now, and we house those people. Currently in eThekwini, we're in discussion with the Transnet on one building that they are not utilizing now, which we could repurpose. It was a training center. We could repurpose with ease, and it could accommodate around 500 families if the plan we're working on. And we think that would work. And we're doing the same in Johannesburg. Our team, though there's no crisis really, in partnership with the city of Johannesburg, they are working there to deal with the issues of how they are supposed to look into the rebuilding.
And I suppose it also speaks to the readiness of municipalities as well, because the issue of inclement weather conditions is one that we've seen in recent years. And I suppose there's also that area of preparation that also needs to get into play there as well, so that there is also a sustainable response to what's taking place.
Yes, but also remember the intention of government is to also to deal with the spatial priorities that are awkward currently. You do understand the person who doesn't want to stay 30 kilometers away from the established area. What does it mean? It means more transport cost. It means more cost to them in the little amount that they are getting in terms of trying to deal with what they receive. And it would be helpful that if we get the old businesses which are going to be repurposed. I mean, you might have seen in the city of Johannesburg yesterday or so on the news. It's unfortunate, but that's a building which we have identified with the city. And we want to repurpose it. It's a government building. We want to repurpose it and house people appropriately and correctly so that we are able to deal with the conditions properly.
Minister, appreciate your time, and let's see then what your assessments tell you, because we do know...
I will be going down on Monday and Tuesday as well to join, and I hope the water would have subsided and we'll start to put the temporary units to accommodate the needy people. Thank you very much.
All right, let's get an update from you then when you get on the ground, especially when it comes to, you know, some of the areas that you are then needing access to as far as the roads are concerned, because we know there's damage there. But I appreciate that update. That is the Minister of Human Settlements, Thembi Simelane, giving us a sense of how things are looking on the ground as far as KwaZulu-Natal is concerned.